welcome back to the show. Today is actually episode 48. We're closing in on a year. Another special guest today. Super excited about this one. I think most people in the pest control probably know who you are. You're pretty active online. But for those who don't, we got Jake Sheldon here. Jake runs a marketing company called Marketing Local. He's a co-owner of that and a co-owner of, what's your new company's name in Texas?
Yeah, Virtual Staffing Hub.
Gotcha. Cool. So Virtual Staffing Hub, and we'll talk about that too. It's going to be a lot of cool things. Like I said, I think most people know who you are. But again, there's an introduction. Welcome to the show, and thanks for being here.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think, I think I've seen your name for the past 2, 3, maybe 4 years online. And then I think we finally got connected really well within the last year or two. Mm-hmm. And started chatting back and forth on the phone, learning what you're doing, learning what we're doing. And then we end up working together this year on some pretty cool things. Mm-hmm. So why don't you just tell us your background, how you got into this pest control industry, where you started at, and then kind of walk us through your journey to where you're at today. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I got into the pest control industry a little different, I guess you could say, than most. So I started out in the marketing world. I kind of got in that quite young, 14, 15 years old, kind of building websites, messing around with Google, things like that. Started a marketing agency pretty young. So that went pretty well. Moved to Omaha, Nebraska. I'm from Kearney, Nebraska, a little teeny town. No one's ever heard of it, but moved to the big city, right, of Omaha, Nebraska. Was running a marketing agency at the time, and I got introduced to a guy there who owned a pest control company. I had never done anything with pest control, never even heard of it. Didn't know pest control companies made money, right? And he was a young guy, right? He's 29 years old, was already multimillionaire. And he's like, hey man, I've never ran anything online, never done ads, don't know anything about Google, don't know anything about Facebook, but I have a really good door knocking team. And so he had been quite successful with that. And he's like, hey, I'd love to bring you on, do some sales for me, and then also run my ads. I was like, okay, well, yeah, let's do it. And that first year, we put about $36,000 into his budget with the online growth. And he came out with 736 general pest control clients.
Nice.
So it went super, super well. Safe to say we became really good friends from that. And he's like, this is crazy. This is going to change the industry. He's like, everyone door knocks right now. It's like the thing to do. It's been the thing to do for a long time. And obviously we all know like door knocking is still a great way to do it.
But it's hard.
It is hard, right? And so he actually offered me equity in another company he was starting in Kansas City. Gotcha. So that's actually how I got introduced to the pest control industry. And that's actually how I became an owner. It's kind of in the right place, right time scenario. So I was like, well, if I'm going to own a pest control company, I better know what I'm talking about. So learned as much as I could about the pest control industry, got my licenses, started doing servicing, just try to figure out as much as I could, right? Started going to like conferences, like I'm sure you've been to like Pest World and things like that. And it's pretty cool. Met a bunch of buddies there at Pest World, and they're like, man, Jake, like, what are you guys doing to grow online? And, like, how are you guys putting so many accounts on, like through Facebook and Google and things like that? I was like, well, I've been doing marketing for a while. I could do it for you if you'd want. And so fast forward quite a few years. Now we've helped hundreds of companies with their online marketing, whether it be website building, Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, whatever it may be. So that's, I guess, how my name has gone throughout the industry, just because we've helped a lot of other pest control owners with their marketing. So been an owner of a pest control company, and also been an owner of a marketing company. And here recently, how we started shifting also to the virtual assistant staffing is we, even for our own pest control company and for our marketing company, we've been using virtual assistants, and found out they're just as professional and really just as good as an American employee would, but for a lot, it's a lot more affordable. And I just had this revelation. I was like, oh my gosh, I could have my whole team basically staffed out of either Mexico, Philippines, some of these areas. And it's going to save me so much on my employee cost per year. We, of course, still have some Americans on our team, right? But most of our staff is actually offshore. And so a lot of my pest control clients that I work with, a lot of buddies that I've built just relationships over years and years, they're like, Jake, hey, who are you using for your office staff? I can't find anyone to work. No one wants to work anymore, especially since COVID. And I was like, well, I staff out of Mexico. And they're like, oh, no way. Like, that's working for you? I was like, well, yeah. And so started directing people that way. And so we started a company called Virtual Staffing Hub, where we help people find staff in offshore, whether it be Mexico or the Philippines, mainly Mexico. That's where we found it the best to be. And we staff pest control companies with really, really good virtual assistants. Of course, we have like trainings and SOPs and things like that. But it's been crazy. It has been extremely popular quite recently. Probably seen a lot of my posts and stuff, but it has been very, very popular in the pest control industry so far, just because I think a lot of people don't really even quite know about it yet.
Yeah. So, and I can kind of chime in there a little bit. So we, as the company grows and gets bigger and bigger, payroll tends to be just one of those things that just take a long time to do. I have two of my top people that are working on payroll for, which seems to be 4 to 5 hours per day, both of them. And they're both making really good salaries. But it's just one of those things on Tuesday that is trying to figure out the commissions for the sales guys, the door knocking guys, then like the salary for just the payroll in general.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, how can we solve this problem? So I reached out to Jake. I mean, I think you reach out to me, you're like, hey, like, are you looking for anything like this? I'm like, you know what? I wonder if we could make that work. Right. So it's probably been a month, maybe 2 months since we brought her on. And that's literally all she does is our payroll and a few odds and things here. Pretty inexpensive, but man, did it change the girls' attitudes on Tuesdays. Like they're like they meet with her. Obviously they go over the payroll. They make sure everything looks correctly before they process it. But like I said, I had two of my more highly paid office people working on that task, where now it's just sub right out. It's been fantastic. So thank you for that. So anyone who's listening that thinks like, hey, how could you utilize this person? That's a great way that we found to utilize it.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So you're living in Nebraska, right? Mm-hmm. But you started a company in Kansas City.
Yep.
Okay, and that's that was called Pestworks KC.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. So first thing is why Kansas City? And second, how did you operate living in a different state?
Yeah. So I actually ended up having to move to Kansas City.
Gotcha.
From Nebraska. Started off trying to do it in a different state. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go full in, move to Kansas City and live there for a few years, got it operational, and then made the move to Texas. But yeah, we were in Texas, or we were in Kansas City for a few years. But yeah, the reason why we chose Kansas City is because Omaha was a really, really good market when we first started there. And then tons and tons of door knocking companies came in that kind of heard about this like little honeysuckle of Omaha, right? And I mean, it just got filled with door knocking companies really, really quickly. It's like, hey, what's another city that's similar to Omaha, similar demographics, right? And has, enough buggy population, right? So we're like, hey, Kansas City would probably be really good. So we did a bunch of market research. Like, man, yeah, I think Kansas City would be a great spot. So we chose the Olathe area of Kansas City, just a little suburb there. And it ended up being a really good spot for us. Really buggy area. I mean, there's a lot of companies there, but there wasn't a lot of people doing online marketing when we first started there. So we did quite well.
Cool. And then from there, did you sell off your equity in that region? That's when you moved to Dallas or to Texas?
Yeah, in Austin, Texas. So around that time frame.
They love Austin. Austin's fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun city. It's nice.
I think it's Rainy Street, right?
Yeah. Yep. You got Rainy.
And the Bat Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty cool stuff.
There's a lot of fun stuff you can do here. It's kind of
the cost of living super high, right?
Super high.
Yeah.
Super, super high. It's like California prices.
So then you're telling me, like, this is just me processing things through my head. So Omaha tends, like, a bunch of door knocking companies come in, kind of ruin that business, but make it tough. Now you're in Austin, Texas, where it seems like every door knocking company in the country is there too. I got two questions out of that. How have you been able to keep those pest control or those door knocking companies at bay in Austin?
So I actually don't have a pest control company here in Austin.
Okay.
Yep. So, since we went to KC, started that company there, that one grew well. that's kind of when, I don't even like to call it this, but my internet fame-ish in the pest control industry, right? Like we became kind of like a household name in the pest control industry. Our agency like blew up, and I really couldn't focus on the pest control company as much as I'd like to. Yeah. Because we were getting like 20 calls a day. Like I was like, holy cow, this is a lot. And so that's when I decided, I was like, okay, I either got to like choose one or the other now. And so I chose the marketing route until I could get it like processed out, which we're about there. And then I'm going to, go hard in the pest control industry again. But
so there's a comeback.
There's a comeback coming back.
That's cool. I'm excited to see that. Will it be in Austin, or are you going to go somewhere else?
No, I'm going to go somewhere else, undisclosed as of now.
I like it. That's cool. Okay, so let's go back to Omaha real quick. Did you guys have a way to keep those door knockers at bay, or were you just fighting left and right? And then what happened in the winter? Like, what did you guys do with your winter services when the snow came?
Yeah, so it was really similar. Even like in Kansas City, it didn't like snow quite as bad, and it wasn't as cold in Kansas City, even though it was like 3 hours away. Yeah. But in Omaha, I mean, really all you could do was like rodent exclusion jobs, maybe spray around the eaves, windows, use web out, like on the eaves for a lot of spiders. That was like one of the toughest parts of Omaha, but we really like pre-framed the sale, whether it be on the phone or even door knocking. Yeah. That was super, super important to pre-frame the sale. Like, hey, we're giving you this discount on the initial, and then we're going to do this service. At the time we were doing quarterly. Now for our company, we do just monthly billing. It's a lot easier to sell that way. But at the time we were doing quarterly, and we really, really had to pre-frame the sale there, just because it does get so cold. You have to sell them on the year-round service, and you have to sell them very, very highly on, hey, this is a warranty service. Meaning if you see any bugs in between, especially the buggy season, we'll come out for free and get rid of it for you. So they weren't like paying for like each service. You had to pre-frame it in the way that they were actually paying for the warranty of the service. Right. And so that's how we sold so well, and that's what a lot of like door knockers know that are really good. They're not selling like per service. They're selling the all around experience and the warranty of the service. And so that's how we were able to get past that. Even in those cold markets. I mean, I've even sold in warm markets too for other companies. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Yeah. Like Florida companies, I'm like, man, you guys get bugs year round. I don't even have to pre-frame the sale. Right. And that's one of the challenge of a cold market, but then that's kind of what makes the cold market good, because a lot of people don't want to go there because their retention rate's just always a little bit lower. Right. But with that winter service, in your experience, how many people would push that off until spring? And what did you guys do then to try to combat that too? Because it's another common thing in the industry. Yep. Usually had like 15% pushback rates on that. And then we love to do pre-season mosquito sales. So we'd be like, hey, right now, if you actually sign up for our mosquito service right now, and this could be like Thanksgiving, Christmas timeframe, even like January, we would do it 4 times before the actual mosquito control season started. We would do pre-season email, text, and call campaigns to get people to actually sign up for services. Because obviously, of course, revenue is going to drop a little bit during the winter season. It just the natural occurrence of the way things are. Mm-hmm. And so we would try to make up that revenue in the cold season with pre-season mosquito control sales, which is awesome. Yeah, smart. And then we ran heavy bed bug ads too in the winter to kind of make up some of that revenue too. Bed bug jobs, our techs didn't like those, but they're good for revenue. They are for sure. And did you guys do any sort of wildlife bats or anything like that, or just exclusion work, just foundation exclusions for mice? Yeah. Yep. No, nothing like that. Cool. We didn't even do termites either. Is there a heavy termite pressure in Kansas City or Nebraska? There is, but not a ton. We just wanted to be super, super good at one or two things, right? We didn't want to try to do a bunch of different things. And it was way easier for our door knockers at the time, and also, me and my business partners on the phone selling, because we ran a lot of Facebook ads, Google ads, things like that. So much more systemized to just sell general pest control, mosquito control. We didn't have to learn anything else, didn't have to do anything else. Like, that's all we sold, and we could scale it. Yeah. That was important to us. I know every company's a little different, but for us, that was the best. And still, in my opinion, it's still the best way for me and the way I work. And
that's the same thing with us too. Like we do very little commercial work, probably 95% residential, all quarterly pest, billed monthly, same way. But we still have that, like in the winter, like people just call in. We get so much snow up here, like they just, no matter how much you preframe the value, there's like, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense to us.
Right.
And obviously most of the time we're going to be on the inside, doing the work on the inside, and then they're not going to be home. So they'll just reschedule it. So just kind of a pain in the butt. But again, I'm not going to lose a customer over one service. I'll just push it off till the spring. We try to minimize that as much as possibly can. Right. And then from there, so you transitioned, moved to Austin, working on the agencies now. Was that like, where you just got so much call volume from your social posts? People were asking about you. They said, hey, I should just create something here.
Yeah. So a lot of people were just reaching out, just, of course, pest control owners. They're like, hey, my buddy told me about you, or, hey, I saw your post on social media, or, hey, I saw your ad on social media, and, I really need some more leads, stuff like that. Right. So we were getting hit up left and right. Obviously around this time frame of year, September right now. So the whole pest control industry as a whole kind of slows down. And that's where we can kind of regroup, take a vacation, even for like our agency side of things, right? Because we work with pest control owners. Yeah. So everyone kind of, even for us, it slows down a little bit too, which is nice. So catch a little breather. But yeah, especially around that time frame when we first got into industry, like it felt like everyone and their dog was like hitting us up, because very, very few people were running like Google ads, Facebook ads. It was like so new. Quite a few years ago. So it was a crazy rush, just like all at once.
And now the pressure is on.
Yep.
Right. So if you were just to let's just say you're going to start a new market like you are, right, in the next year or two, and you're going online, what are the first things that you're going to do online to start building that reputation of yourself? And then what ads are you going to run? Not specific ads, but what platforms?
Yeah. So I actually even made a little video about this too. But first things first.
Do you have a link that you can send us to put in this?
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Yep. It's like 1,000 accounts in 18 months is the video, right? And so the first thing you definitely want to do is have a Google My Business page. Like, you have to have it. Like, Agreed. If you don't have it, what are you doing? You got to have a Google My Business page.
Yeah.
And my recommendation is, whether if you do it and learn SEO, or if you pay someone to do it, you have to get some local GMB SEO going. Like, the quicker you get ranked in your local area, the better. Like, get as many reviews as possible too. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'll even tell you a secret. When I go to my next location, I'm going to get as many reviews as possible. I will do services for free until I get to 50 reviews. Like, I'll go knock on 50 houses. I'm going to get 50 reviews. I'll say, hey, I'm going to do your service for free today. And all I ask for return is a review. A bunch of those people are going to sign up for my service regardless, but I'm going to get 50 reviews in less than a week. Boom. Like, you got 50 reviews. You're already moving up in ranks. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that until I get 100 reviews. I'll do it for free if I have to, right? Like, people don't realize how important that is to build up your credibility on Google as quickly as possible. You need reviews fast. And so that's what we're going to do. Like I said, I will lose money if I have to in order to get those reviews. And it's so important. Next thing I do is I'm going to run paid Facebook ads, and I'm going to do some sort of offer on that initial, so I can get people in the door. And a lot of people,
a really good offer to make them click.
Yep. Go. Anything that I can do to get as many people through the door as possible. Mm-hmm. From talking to quite literally thousands of pest control owners, I find a lot of guys that, have been in the industry a while are like, hey, I'm not going to go out there for anything less than $250, or like I'm worth way more than that. And I'm like, hey man, that's like totally fine. But, I just talked to a guy who has 50,000 accounts, down the street, who's going to do it for $39 for the initial. So he can get that person on his service forever.
Yep.
Right. And that's what it's about in the pest control industry, is that reoccurring money. That's the guys who make millions are the guys who know their LTV, their lifetime value to the customer.
Yep.
And so that's all I'm going after. Is I'm not going after the initial money. I'll even lose money on the beginning if I know that I can get that customer forever. As long as I provide them a great service and have great customer retention, which we do tons of things to keep people on.
I just wrote that down, so we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll do whatever it takes to get that customer. It's like people just don't understand how important it is to get people through the door. So if you can get volume through the door, you will make money quick.
Yep.
So that would be my first two recommendations. And then I would post on Facebook groups as well, like go into local Facebook groups, introduce yourself to the area. I hire virtual assistants to do this for me, $5 an hour. And they go in there and post all day, every day for me on LinkedIn, Nextdoor, Facebook, Instagram. They do this for me all day, every day, $5 an hour. And, we put on accounts. So it makes it super worth it.
Yeah.
That'd be another thing. And that would, in my opinion, those are like the top three things that you could do right away going into the market. And then once you start building customers up, the door knocking world, we call it clover knocking.
Yep.
So this would be my next step. So I would go up to all the customers that we just serviced, thank them for their business. It's really important. Of course, just be personal, thank them for their business. Say, hey, do you think any of your neighbors might be interested in pest control as well? Oh yeah, they might. Awesome. Okay. Do you mind if I go over and talk to them? 99% of the time, they're going to say, yeah, sure. They're going to look at you weird.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you mind giving me their names? Oh yeah, sure. So you get their names, right? You get this neighbor's name, you get that neighbor's name, and you get the two neighbors across the street's name. Now you have all the neighbors' names. You go over there, talk to them, knock on the door, say, hey, my name's Jake. Hey, you know Sandy? Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, awesome. Hey, Sandy actually told me to come talk to you. My name's Jake. I'm with, ABC Pest Control, whatever company you're with. And she told me to come over to talk to you. We're actually going to be here in just a few weeks again to do her pest control. And since I'm going to be walking around here, my tech's going to be walking around here, we don't want to be strangers, just some random people walking around the lawn. I don't want you calling the cops on me. So just letting you know, when I introduce myself, my name's Jake. Go up to him, shake their hand. Just want to introduce myself, let you know that we're here. If you want, while we're here, we could take care of your pest control. Super cheap. And then just pause.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
You'd be it's amazing how many accounts you can put on, because first of all, you got a recommendation. That neighbor literally said you could go talk to him. And so now you have a referral, right? You have a referral, and then now you're talking to the neighbor and you know their name, you know their first name, and you know if they have a spouse, you know their name. And so you know the neighbor's name, you know their name, and then you're just introducing yourself. You're not being weird. You're not being spammy. You're literally just coming over there. Even if they're not interested, be like, hey, no worries. Happy just to meet you, because we're going to be walking around here anyway. Yeah. That way you at least know who we are and you walk out, right? Mm. And maybe in the future, they see you guys in the yard. They remember that interaction. They're like, hey, that Jake guy was really nice. Maybe we should call him for our pest control. We've had that happen before. So that would be what I would do right away. You could put 500 accounts on in just a few months, boom, 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 quick. So, and yeah, I don't know if I gave away too much information, but
no, I love it. And then I'm going to go back and ask questions. So Google My Business, you can get 50 reviews, maybe 100. Any other tips around Google My Business that'll help the listeners without giving away the secret sauce?
Yeah. No, a big thing is you're going to want to post pictures too. Google's algorithm really, really likes pictures.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, baby. And don't do stock images. Yep. I see a lot of pest control owners like put stock images up there. Yep. Google is really sensitive about that. You want to do like actual pictures of like your business, right? Don't do any stock images, but yeah, post consistently. Google likes consistency. That's going to be really important. Have all the things that you need. Have a website, have your addresses match. Like everything needs to match. Trying to think of anything else as tips as far as that goes. Have your Q&A on there, frequently asked questions. You need to have all that stuff on there because all that stuff matters to Google's algorithm. A lot of people think it's just like, a person sitting there like saying, oh, you're going to be ranked today. It's like, that's not how it works. It's an algorithm. Yep. And as long as you follow Google's algorithm, you can rank up quickly.
It's funny, like the people who do really good at Google My Business that are constantly clearing out, like the calls, they're adding the pictures. And it's almost like as soon as you add the picture and as soon as you clear calls, you'll see like more calls come in. It's just funny how you see that spike. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then going on to Facebook ads, anything around that you'd like to touch on that, could help people out?
Yeah. So a big thing too is you want to like know your target market when running a Facebook ad. So that's going to be really important. You just don't want to like target everyone. Like, so for us, I know my ideal customer is typically a female around anywhere from like 30 to 55. That's like where most of our calls come from.
Yeah.
Is that. So every market's a little different. I mean, I've ran ads in like literally hundreds of different places and every market's a little different when it comes to a demographic. Like I know parts of Florida that we run ads in, that is like the opposite of the people who call us. It's usually like men who are anywhere from like 45 to 70 that call. Right. And they're snowbirds and they live in a different state and they come down and live in parts of Florida for a couple months. So it kind of just depends on where you live. But for us, I know that's our demographic, what we like to hit. So know your demographic. And then number 2, have a great offer and a great image. Your offer has to be great because everyone and their dog offers $50 off or $100 off. Your buyers won't care about that. They want something like great. So you have to stick out outside of the competition. So that offer is going to be important. Then of course, like you have to have a good ad image because people are in a hypnotic rhythm when they're scrolling through social media. So you need to break that. You need to like disrupt their hypnotic rhythm. And so disruptors like a good image, like something with like a bright cherry red or yellows, greens. Those are colors that like break your subconscious and you can disrupt people. So you need to have a really good image too. Super important.
Super smart. I love that. As far as the lead quality from each, where would you rather get leads from?
Man, I would rather get a lot more leads from Google. Yeah. To be transparent. Google leads are way higher quality, but they're a lot more expensive. Yep. Of course, if they're coming from your Google My Business, that's why that's my number one recommendation.
It's so cheap.
It's the best.
The people who aren't doing it, like they have no idea what they're missing out. It's almost like you hate to even say it on here, but it's like they have to get on here. And there's so much work out there. Like you can't have that mindset where you, oh yeah, the limited beliefs. There's so much work out there. There's so many bugs everywhere.
Right. Right.
But you brought up another good point during all that. You talked about retention rates and, yes. Like especially with winter and, door knockers and all that. What are some good ideas for companies use to better their retention? I hear this all the time.
Yeah. I actually have a video on this too.
Sweet. We're just going to link all this in there.
So keep in mind, all this stuff I'm sharing with you has just been learned over time and talking to like thousands of pest control owners. Like I do not take credit for like any of this. I have there's been a lot of guys that I've talked to are like 10,000 times smarter than I am. And they've just gave me a lot of great insight. So all the things I'm about to say, my clients, if you're watching, I do not take credit for any of it. So one of the things that we do is we do like gift giveaway strategies. I got this from a very, very successful pest control owner. I'll just tell you guys. So he does like gift giveaways, right? We started doing gift giveaways too. But so what you do is you send out a text to all your clients. You say, hey, we're doing this awesome gift giveaway. It's going to be huge. Here's like the prize you're going to win. Right. And this could be a phone, a computer, whatever. But this guy got so big, he was giving away cars. And so he's like, hey, we're doing this big gift giveaway. All you have to do to enter is you have to send us a referral that signs up for a yearly pest control program. It's the only stipulation. They have to sign up, right? Someone signs up on your referral. You get this little card, however you want to do it. I've taught this to quite a few people and everyone does it a little different. But you get a little red ticket. Mm-hmm. That ticket goes in a huge bucket. You throw their name in the bucket. The more people they refer, the more tickets they get. So, you could do it a multiple. I've had people do it all different ways.
Yep.
But, if they refer 5 people, they get $500 automatically or $1,000 automatically. Everyone does it different. We do $1,000 if they refer 5 people, because at that point, you're kind of like a sales rep.
Absolutely.
And they're also going to get 20 entries into the gift giveaway. So you times their entries, the more people they refer.
Yeah. The last time we did like an iPhone 12 or 13, whatever it was.
Yeah. And you don't have to give away anything like gigantic. And
it cost us like $600 or at the time, or 800, whatever it was. Doesn't matter.
Right. And you get 2 people and it's worth it.
Yep.
Right. So you throw it into a big bucket, they pull it out, and like however you want to do it. Some people do it monthly. I have some clients who do it quarterly. I have some clients who only do it yearly. Pull out the name. You say, oh, hey, John Doe won the phone, won the computer, whatever that may be. You go out to their house, you film it, you give them the phone, whatever it may be. I've seen people give away cars. You give them the car, you take a video of it, and then you send that text blast out to everyone in your customer list. You say, hey, John Doe just won an iPhone. Make sure that next time when we do this, gift giveaway strategy, that you send us a referral to, and you can be entered to win, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, you put a notice down there that even if they don't win the gift giveaway, they're still going to get something for referring someone. So you always want to give them some sort of incentive to refer regardless. And I see most guys will do this. This is a retention secret too. Is they'll be like, hey, we'll just give you a $50 credit on your next service, which that's just fine. That's actually what I used to do. But I had really, really successful pest control owners say, hey, it's like, Jake, don't do that, man. I was like, why? It's like, man, your retention rates will skyrocket if you do this. I was like, okay, what is it? He's like, well, send out a text to all your customers. Tell them that they have a chance to win $500. I was like, okay, well, like, what do you mean by that? He's like, people want something tangible when they give you something. If they're going to give you something, give them something back. Don't just put a credit. They're not going to see the credit. It's not tangible. It's not, you can't touch it. You can't touch a credit. He's like, but you can touch an Amazon card, or you can touch money. It's like, I promise you'll get way more. I know even if it's the same amount of money, it's going to be way different subconsciously to people. I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I'll try it. Tried it out, and our referral rates went up and our retention rates went up. I was like, holy cow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So we started giving people Amazon gift cards, or like actual cash.
Yeah.
And again, when they give us more referrals, like if they give us 5 referrals, we give them a higher amount. Yep. So if they gave us 1, we'll give them $50. But if they give us 5, we'll give them 100. Or sometimes we'll even do like sweepstakes where we'll do 1,000, right? And like people are like, holy cow, like $1,000. That's a big deal for just referring 5 customers. Right. And that costs quite a bit for us, but it's super worth it, because now people just saw you give away $1,000 for referring. Next time they're, talking to their neighbor about pest control, you better believe they're going to refer you.
Yeah.
Right.
Fantastic. And when they're,
yep. So that's another one. I have like a ton more, and I'll give you one more. Another one, this actually came from recently, a pest control company. He asked the customer for their favorite song. That like, hey, like, what's your favorite song? And he'll ask him like just when he's doing the first service, kind of nonchalantly, right? And then the next time he goes out, he has like this little boom box that hooks to his belt, and then he plays their favorite song while he's servicing the home.
And it's little things like that go a long way. Even if you can capture the dog's name.
Yeah.
And you're back in the first service and you go back to the second service and you have it in your notes like, oh, hey, how's Dolly doing today? Like, they're like, wait, you remember my dog's name? It's the little touches like that where you can charge a little bit more money and keep your attention high.
Yep, exactly.
And it can be hard to teach that, but if you can automate the process, like where it's routine every time, like you're doing good things.
Yes. 100% agree.
And for all of you guys that don't know or don't follow Jake online, he is actually in a wheelchair right now doing this podcast. He got a cast on his arm, got a cast on his leg. Yeah. So what happened, dude? Like I kind of know the story, but I need to know like what really happened. I know you're playing basketball.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. So I played basketball like my whole life and was just playing some pickup basketball and was waiting for everyone kind of in between pickup games. We already played 4 that day. And I have an ankle that I like sprained a bunch of times in high school and stuff. And so it's not like 100% ever. And just went up for a layup in between the games and my ankle just like gave out. And then because my ankle gave out, I was in the air and I guess my knee gave out first. So my ankle gave out, then my knee hyperextended about 1.5 feet the other way. And then I tried to catch my fall with my arm and then my arm just like totally snapped. And then I was like, oh, well, what do I do now? Because I was like, I thought my knee was just dislocated. So like everyone like picked me up and I was like, oh, that's broken. And so went to the hospital, was fine, got the surgeries in a week. And then I was just kind of laying around, obviously couldn't walk or do anything and have a family history of like blood clots in my family. So I was just like sitting in my apartment and my leg was hurting. And then all of a sudden, like a couple hours later, my chest started hurting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, my chest really hurts. And then all of a sudden I couldn't like breathe. I was like severe pain, like severe pain. And like, I like couldn't breathe. And then all of a sudden, like my body like started seizing. And then my girlfriend comes out and like she calls the ER comes, ambulance, the whole 9 yards. And then I get to the hospital, they put me on oxygen. They're like, yeah, your lung collapse. You have a bunch of blood clots in your lungs. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. So I was sitting there for like 2, almost 3 days, like seizing, just because my lung was like failing. They're trying to like get it back up. But yeah, man, it was just not what I expected from a layup.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I remember I texted you during that process and didn't hear back from you. Didn't think nothing of it. All of a sudden your girlfriend texts back. She's like, hey, Jake's in the hospital, but he'd love to do the podcast. I'm like, you just get better. We'll work on this later on.
So she didn't even ask me. She didn't even like tell me about it. And she was like, hey, someone texted you and said to be on a podcast. I just said yes. And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see you're like getting healthier. When can you get out of your cast and stuff like that?
So they're not like 100% for sure because I'm on blood thinners. So like everything's just healing a lot slower.
Right.
I still have like a lot of swelling that like should have gone away by now. But I mean, I should be walking here in a few weeks. They're like, hey, you're young and healthy enough. Like you should like,
but being an entrepreneur and you're used to going 100 all the time. Like, literally. Like I know how you operate because I operate the same way you do, but mentally that's got to be tough on you. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
How's that been going?
Man, it is like mentally it's been tougher than I thought it was ever going to be just because like you said, I'm always go, especially when it first happened. Like it was different just because I was so sleepy all the time. I was on like pain meds and all sorts of stuff and like just like sleeping. And then like, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not getting stuff done, but like I couldn't like physically stay awake long enough to actually do anything significant. Luckily I have an amazing team that has really helped and really shown up and, kind of took a lot of the work I was doing. So that has been awesome. Team really, really showed up. So, but yeah, mentally it's been different. A lot of the guys watching this show, pest control owners, I feel a lot of us are like the same kind of creatures that we're all just, go, 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 let's conquer the world. And then when, you can't walk, you're like, oh crap, this is a different type of life, So
yeah, it's gotta be tough.
Been different.
I remember 12 years ago, I fell through a roof. Kind of the same thing as I got lucky. I fell feet first, my ankle snapped sideways, looked like 90 degrees, like something you see on TV that you shouldn't see. Kind of probably what happened to you.
Yeah.
And I looked down, my ankle's stuck, and I'm like, whoa, that's not good. Ooh. I mean, nothing broke. I just dislocated and tore everything, which was worse. Right. They popped it back into place like that night. They put me out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't walk for 6 months. After the first year, they said I had two options. I could either live with the pain or I could get my ankle fused and never run again. And I'm 26, 27 at the time. I'm like, I was playing baseball. Like I just had a baby. Like I can't not run. So I decided to deal with the pain. Well, this is not a lie. For the first year of that, I got up every single morning, had to crawl to the bathroom.
Wow.
Just until it would warm up almost.
Oh, wow.
And it sucked. I'm not going to lie. But looking back, it's the best decision I ever made. Does it get sore today? Absolutely. Is there arthritis? Absolutely. But I can still run. I can still play. I wasn't about it. So I'm glad that I took that route. Kind of got off on a little soapbox there. But what's the future look like for you? You have a lot going on. I think, was it a month ago we talked about solar? Can we touch on that a little bit?
Yeah.
So what you got going on there?
Yeah, with the virtual assistants, that has obviously been very popular in the pest control industry.
Yeah.
But
because we have all the contacts, right? Our lists are usually so big.
Yeah. And a lot of the pest control guys, especially the big door knocking companies, a lot of them are also starting to sell solar too. And so they're like, hey, do you think the virtual assistants could, do some calling for solar? I'm like, all my solar data. It's like, yeah, for sure. And that has gone really well for them too. So now we've been getting referrals and a lot of solar people reaching out too. So yeah, because solar and pest control are similar and not the same, obviously, business, but as far as gaining customers wise, door knocking is very heavily done in both. Mm-hmm. And so, kind of the same kind of breed of people too, go-getters, people who want to conquer the world. Man, it's the same type. So, solar's been big in the virtual assistant side of things too.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to say, hey, I have a huge customer list, sounds like we could probably pull this off with solar. What would you recommend they do?
Oh, 100%. Partner with a solar company. Because most solar companies will give anywhere from $250 to $1,000 per referral. If that person, of course, does go through a solar and makes sense for their home. Of course, not every home it makes sense to go solar, but there are quite a few homes out there that it does make sense. And most solar companies offer free evaluations. And so the homeowner can just check to see if it makes sense for them. But yeah, pest control owners can make a ton of extra money just for sending the solar company a customer list. You can track it. I can even show them how there's a system called Lead Engine 360, or a lot of people call it Go High Level. Yep. You can just blast all the customers in there.
Yep.
And then that way you both can see, so it's transparent. But I know guys who have a few thousand customers have made hundreds of thousands of dollars referring customers to solar companies.
That's awesome. Do you use Go High Level a lot?
Yeah.
Your main.
Yeah.
It's the
best software out there.
For sure. I love it. Well, but in the next 3 to 5 years, what does the future look like for Jake? I know you have a lot going on, but what does it look like?
Yeah. So, big thing is I truly think we're going to disrupt the market with the virtual assistant side of things. My goal is to have 500 pest control companies getting virtual staffing from us.
Sweet.
I think we really can do it. Just because there's not a lot of pest control companies utilizing virtual assistants yet. And I'm biased, but I truly think we have the best virtual assistants out there. We have tons that come through our pipeline, and that's definitely my main goal, is to get 500 virtual agents working for pest control companies.
Cool.
Like I said, I think we're going to disrupt the market. I think it's very needed because there's a lot of Americans that don't want to work anymore, and office staff is so expensive anymore. that this is going to change the industry and help a lot of people save a lot of money on employee costs. And then secondly, I want to grow a very, very large pest control company in the next 5 years. I'd like to be somewhere around like 30 to 35,000 accounts. And I think we can do it. Got a big plan. Got some big hitters that I'm going to be partnering with, but I can't say too much about that quite yet.
For sure. Well, we're excited to hear it for sure. Kind of switching gears a little bit again, like when we talk about ad spend, just starting out, like brand new company, and they don't maybe they have a little bit of a nest egg, saved to go rolling. But what would you say is a good budget to start out with? Yeah,
so I would say if you're going to run Facebook ads and you're going to do it yourself, I would say I wouldn't spend anything less than $600 a month. You're going to waste your money if you spend anything less than that. Facebook has what it's called a threshold. And especially if you're going to run lead ads or a conversion ad, which those are the ones that work the best. If you spend anything less than that threshold, you're going to be placed really low on the auction. It's like what a lot of people don't know is Facebook runs off an auction. So you're not just auctioning against, pest control companies. You're auctioning against like chiropractors, dentists, anyone and their dog, right? They're all, everyone
show up on the feed.
Yep. Everyone's paying for those eyeballs. And so, if you don't spend enough money, Facebook doesn't want to show your ad to those eyeballs, right? So, you need to spend a certain amount in order for it even be worth it. I just talked to a lot of pest control guys who only spend like $200-300 and they're like, it didn't work. I'm like, well, you just didn't spend enough money. It's not going to work if you don't spend enough money. I wouldn't recommend anything less than like $600. To give it like a true trial. I know this might seem like a lot to some people, but I at least spend $3,000 for even if it's a month or 2 months. You need to spend a little bit of money to first test and then get your name out there because it's the best thing as far as branding, but also you can generate leads if you do the ads properly.
Do you recommend them doing themselves or hiring someone to do it for them?
There's a lot of like great tools out there to learn to do it themselves. Pretty much anything's on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's like a lot of great places you can check out on YouTube to learn it yourself. But there's also a lot of great companies that can do ads for them too. But they're of course going to charge a fee. So if I feel like you're a brand new company and you have the time to learn it and watch some YouTube videos and you like that stuff, that's definitely the route I would take. It's going to be a lot cheaper than hiring a company to do it for you.
For sure. I'm interested. Who is Jake in high school? If you and I are sophomores in high school and buddies, like who are you in high school?
In high school? Gosh. I played sports my whole life.
Doesn't surprise me. Like you just like that competitive drive.
Yeah, I was really big into sports. Me and my friends were all kind of nerdy, I guess you could say. Kind of a different type of crowd. We were like, the nerdy jocks, I guess you could say. As you can see, like I like Star Wars and I like computer stuff and automation and,
that's cool.
I guess you could say I'm just kind of like a nerdy jock, if you will.
Yeah, so it made me curious of like, because I remember you saying in the beginning of the podcast that you were like 14 or 15 years old when you got into marketing. Like, how did that come about? Like,
yeah, I was just like, I guess I'm just the typical like millennial kid. Like, just I've always wanted to make money my entire life. I remember asking my mom when I was like 7 years old. I went to my buddy Austin's house, and his dad was a surgeon, and they had this big old fancy house. And I went back to my mom. I was like, Mom, Austin's house is so cool. Like, how do I get a house like that?
What did she say?
Well, she's like, you're going to have to do something to make a lot of money. She's like, Austin's dad's a surgeon. He makes a lot of money. I was like, oh, and that's kind of like when a light bulb went off in my head when I was really young. It's like, okay. So I started like thinking about money in that way, doing lemonade stands and all sorts of like stuff, and then, as a little teenager, right, you're just looking up stuff. You're like, how to make money online, how to learn, stuff like that. Right. And so kind of got into that stuff really, really young. I'm still fairly young, 29, about to be 30. So, still fairly young, but, this was 14, 15 years ago. I was searching this stuff up and I was like, whoa, I could actually make money doing online stuff. This is cool. So that's how I kind of started out.
That's pretty cool. What did your parents do?
So my parents did the same thing their entire life. So my mom is about ready to retire. She works at City Hall, and she started when she was 21, I believe, 20 or 21. And then my dad, same thing. He started, he was like a park director, worked for the city parks. He started like somewhere around like 20, and they're both in their 60s. My dad's like 65, my mom's 63. So my dad just retired last year, and my mom's about to retire. So
when you went to go on your entrepreneurial journey, like, what were their thoughts?
Oh, they thought I was crazy. Thought I was crazy. Yeah. Thought I was crazy. Yeah. Cause I was doing marketing when I was in college. I went for electrical engineering and industrial distribution. And, they wanted me to get like a nice engineering job. And I was like, I'm already making money online. Like I could just do this. Like, no, you should get a good job and, go be an engineer. That's what we want you to do, type of thing. And
right.
It's like, no, I think I'm going to start like a marketing agency. I really think I could do this, and started making some good money with that. And
were they supportive then, or were they kind of pushing back on you?
No, still kind of pushing back. And especially when I got into like the pest control industry, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to really, really go after this pest control stuff.
And they're like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, they thought
there's no money in bugs.
Yeah, they thought I was crazy because they've never heard of any
you gotta have a 401k, a retirement, health insurance, right?
Right. They're like, pest control? Like, what the heck is that? Like, why pest control? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do ads for them, and I mean, I'm gonna even learn how to door knock. They're like, door knock? People door knock still? Like, thought I was crazy.
Yeah. And that, at what point in the journey do you think that they are like, okay, he's onto something? And what would they say now?
Oh yeah. I mean, they're super supportive now.
Yeah.
super supportive now. Honestly, really like about 6 months in to owning a pest control company. Like I like for sure remember me and my mom having that conversation. She's like, wow, Jake, like, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm so glad you didn't listen to me. Like, makes me feel nice. Thank you.
That's cool. Love that. So, I love hearing the story. What do you, like, I always ask this to everyone, because I make them put it like their life into perspective for a moment. What are you most proud of to this point in your life?
Most proud of, man.
It's hard to like with people like us, our goals are so big. It's hard to remember those small wins and to be thankful. So I like to ask the question to make you like really think on it. Yeah.
Cause I mean, I know you're a lot like I am too. It's like, you always feel like you could do more. You always feel like you could be farther ahead.
Mm-hmm. Always.
But at the same time, always, always really grateful, always tried to live life, being grateful. And I've been dealt some good cards in my life too. Not everyone has like the same, I guess, opportunities, and I had a great family and, but, man, most proud of, that's tough. I mean, man, really, I think just starting the marketing agency, and like, not to sound like cliche or anything, but we've helped a lot of people make a substantial amount of money. And it's not just like, it's not me like making money, but like when I have a guy that comes to me like, hey, Jake, like, you changed my life. I put on 1,000 accounts this last year. Like, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Like, that's more special to me than me making money. I know, like, I'm sure it sounds like cliche to a lot of people.
No, because I love watching others win. I love it.
And it's just like, it's so satisfying. Like, because like once you make a certain amount of money, at least like for me, it was this way, you like kind of reevaluate your life. You're like, okay, made some money now. Now, like, what do I want like out of my life? Like, how do I want to like impact the world? And I'm a believing man too. So like, I'm like, all right, how do like I serve God at like, the next level? How do I like impact other people's lives in like a positive way? And that has been like, I guess the thing I've been proud of. It's like not necessarily like my own success, but like again, I know it sounds cliche, but like helping others succeed is like, it's so much more satisfying than even like your own success.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the podcast before we even started. You asked me what my end game was, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, everything's going good now. I'm in a good spot. I've made my money. Like, it's fun. Yes, I could sell and retire now, but that's just not what I want to do. Like, I'm on to big things. So what's your end game?
Man,
you're only 29. I got 10 years your seniors. What does that look like?
Oh man. To be honest, I haven't like thought of like the end game, and I've talked to my parents, my girlfriend, everyone about this. Like, I think I'm addicted to like the pursuit.
Yep. Like Warren Buffett, right? Like, he's 90 some years old, still doing it.
Yeah. Like,
and my mentor told me, because he had a really big exit.
Yeah.
Really big. And obviously he's good for the rest of his life. And I was like, when's enough? And he looked at me, he goes, I don't know. There's always more levels. I'm like, this is never going to end for me either. I just know it.
No, I don't think I'll ever stop. I think I'll, of course, like later on, I'll, take more vacations, and, there's always like time to recuperate. But like, I don't know if I'll ever stop. I don't know if there's like necessarily an end game, just because like, I really, really like truly enjoy the pursuit. I think that's what makes me happy, is like the pursuit of, again, like not making money, but just like the pursuit of like getting better, I guess you could say, and like helping others, whether it be like, helping them with their bugs, or helping them find a virtual assistant, or, helping them put more customers on. Like, no matter what business is, like, it's just so much more satisfying than like your own success, just
for sure. I always ask this question too. 2 books, if you're a reader, that you would recommend that everyone should listen to.
Oh gosh. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, like, changed my life when I was like 18.
Have you ever watched the movie?
I haven't, no.
So they just made a movie within like the last year and a half. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it usually on Facebook too. It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's short. It's like 45 minutes. It's cool. You should look at it.
Okay.
And then book number 2.
Oh man. I mean, just as like a life deal, not necessarily as like a business book, but a book that actually like truly changed my life was a book called On Guard by William Lane Craig. It's more of like a religious book. The reason why this changed my life is because I was going through like a time frame that like I wasn't for sure what my beliefs were. And then I read this book by William Lane Craig. It's his ministry is called Reasonable Faith. Basically gives you like reasonable faith of why you should believe in what you believe. And that book, like, I was like, whoa.
Interesting. I wrote it down.
Changed my path forever. Like, and it like definitely makes my day to day way different from that.
Interesting. So were your parents religious when you were growing up?
Yeah. Yep. Grew up in a Christian household. And,
okay.
And then kind of went through some,
I think we all do.
Doubts,
yeah.
Some doubts and stuff. And I was like,
was there like something in the back of your mind that was like calling you? Like, and it sounds super weird, but like I've went through that phase too. Like, there's just a higher power calling you. And I feel like I always have someone that's watching out for me at a higher calling too. But did you have that feeling, or like there's just something there that I got to go find and search for?
1,000%.
It's so weird, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like, but like, even like before that, like I was always like, I was kind of going through some doubts. I'm like, gosh, like, am I just believing in this just because my parents told me to believe in it? Or like, do I actually believe in it? Like, why do I believe in it?
Yeah.
Went through that. And then like, cause going through that stage, I was like, I know I'm here for some sort of purpose. Like, just like you said, some sort of like higher calling. I feel like something is like calling out to me, but like, I don't know if it's just like my internal brain or it's like, it's actually something. Right. But like, even from like a young age, I'm sure a lot of the people watching this as entrepreneurs, you like know you're destined to do something like,
for sure. Big.
Yeah. Like you don't know why. And like, you talk to other people and like, it's like I don't know. It's almost, I feel like you're almost born with it or something.
Yeah, it's strange.
Like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I'm like, man, I was destined to do something big. And I'm like, do you feel that way? And I'm like, oh, no. no. I'm like, man, that's weird. But then I go to like Pest World or it's like, a conference and stuff, meet other people like, yeah, I totally feel that way. I'm like, oh, these are my people,
Yeah. Do you go to any like marketing conferences too, or you just mostly stick to the pest control side?
Yeah. I've been to quite a few marketing conferences as well.
Any good ones?
Yeah. I mean, like Funnel Hacking Live, like that ClickFunnels holds is always
Russell
really good.
Brunson. Yeah.
Yeah. Russell Brunson's a man.
He is the man.
That one's really good. And then I've just been to like a lot of like private masterminds too.
Cool.
Yeah. Just always networking and meet new people.
Yeah, I mean, just the Russell Brunsons go all the way back to the Dan Kennedy world.
Yeah.
Like the old school Dan Kennedy, like it's so powerful.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
So for all those people who want to learn about marketing, like just start with those books. Like so much knowledge.
So good. Yeah. Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson. Yeah. If you're looking to learn marketing, those are the guys. Oh, and Alex Hormozi's really good now.
Yeah. He's such a baller. He just truly is. Any last few tips? Could be around anything, like maybe something that maybe a mentor told you grow like as you're like coming up, or anything that you've like failed that you learned a lot from that you could relate to the listeners.
Yeah. I guess I mean, one of the biggest things, just like as far as like business goes, is like if you own a business, as like everything's going to go wrong that can go wrong typically. And so if you can handle those things that go wrong well, and you just can adjust, like you're going to be okay. Like just figure out how you're going to overcome the scenario. Cause I talk to a lot of guys who are like, oh man, I had this happen and this is why I'm not where I want to be. I'm like, man, you're like, I just want to tell them like, you're blaming your circumstance. Mm-hmm. Like the guys that I talk to are making millions and millions of dollars. Are like, they have the same exact problems that you have had. They just figured out how to get past that. And so like, you don't look at your daily problems as problems, because dude, bad stuff happens all the time. Like customers like, canceling, or, they're like, hey, my dog ate a RTU paid station or whatever happens. Right. So
it happens all the time.
It's like, you can't look at that stuff and you're like, oh, everything's bad happening. Just like figure out how you can get past that problem and how you're going to handle it. That was like some of the best advice I ever received. And then just another simple one is just know the lifetime value of your customer.
Yeah.
The lifetime value of a customer, you'll make a lot of money no matter what business you're in. It could be pest control. It could be, selling keyboards, selling forks. I don't. Right. It doesn't matter what it is. If you know the lifetime value of your customer, you can make a lot of money. Just figure out how to bring those customers in.
Super awesome. I'll touch on that a little bit too, is like finding a group or a coach that has been through those same problems, mm-hmm. that can solve it with, like Dalton says, it's a dumb tax, right? Like it's just something you pick up the phone call that they've been through 100 times and they can literally solve it in a 30-minute phone call. Like, oh, cool. Moving on. And then just like realizing that there's other people out there like us that all have mm-hmm. the same problems.
Yes.
Like we're all going through this together, no matter what level we're going to still have challenges.
Right.
So I love that.
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, like I said, it's been over an hour already. Told you I won't keep you too long, but again, I appreciate you being here. I look forward to seeing you win the next few years. I love watching your journey. So again, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me.
Cool. I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.